Hey everyone. Sorry, my cat is trying to get in the video. Today I kind of wanted to talk about what it's like being in a relationship with someone who is in active addiction or being in a relationship with someone who is in recovery. I've had 2 boyfriends my whole life, and I was with this other guy that I wouldn't really consider a boyfriend. We were together for a couple months, and all of them were in active addiction at some point or another, and at times they were in recovery. So basically, every relationship that I've been in, I have dealt with relapses, a lot of arguing, trust issues, and a lot of heartbreak. But out of all those negative things, there were good parts about being with someone who struggles with addiction. That being the memories that were created between those people. In my first relationship, I was just starting to get into benzos. Somehow I end up at this guy's friend's house. The next day we're dating. I know it's kind of weird how that happened, but that's how it happened. The next day I woke up and he was telling people that I was his girlfriend. I was like, wait, what? And I had never had a boyfriend before, so it was really weird, but at the same time I was so lost as a person because of my benzo use. And me and this person stayed together for almost 6 years. He was in and out of treatment centers, outpatient, hospitals, you name it. And it's hard to watch someone that you love go through all of that. It really is. I think the hardest part about being in a relationship with an addict is when one person gets sober and the other person doesn't or can't. It makes it really hard to make that relationship work. And I think that that's a reason why my first relationship just didn't end up working, because of the ups and downs, constant ups and downs. But I believe that going through all of those experiences has made me a stronger person, and it has helped me to cope with different situations in life. It's also helped me feel like I have found somewhat of a purpose in my life, and that is to help others. One thing that I learned the hard way was that you can't fix someone. I was constantly trying to fix the issue or make this person feel better and cure them in a way. But in the end, I was only hurting myself more. I hate the word tough love because that's what so many people have said to me, like, oh, it's just tough love, like you can't enable them or this and that. But it's a hard situation to deal with when it's someone that you love and that you want to do good in life. There were many times where I had wanted to get sober and my boyfriend at the time didn't want to. I would get upset. I'm like, well, if you're gonna use, I'm gonna use, type of thing. I would find myself relapsing even though I truly wanted to be sober. It's a really hard subject for me to talk about because I don't know the right answers on how to have a perfect relationship with someone who struggles with addiction. Just like myself, I struggle with addiction, so that can also be hard for someone else that's trying to deal with me when I'm using. But the hardest part for me was when I was trying my hardest to stay sober and do anything I could to be clean, and someone around me that I'm with every day was using or choosing not to do the things you need to get sober. It made it harder for me to recover myself. There were times throughout my first relationship that I was able to stay strong enough to stay sober. It was very painful to see that person you love so much still fighting every single day. And I would get so angry every time I find out that there was a relapse or that they needed to go back into treatment. That always hurt so much. It's like, why is this happening again? Why is this happening to me? Like, it was just so frustrating. When I had met Lucas, my boyfriend who passed away a month ago, for anyone who's new to my channel, I met him while he was still in sober living. I knew there was a potential risk of this person not being able to stay sober. The connection that me and Lucas had from the first day that we met, it was just so strong and genuine. I felt like I could be myself around him and he wasn't judging me. He was so funny. He knew all the right words to say, and I truly felt like I found my person. Throughout me and Lucas's relationship, he was sober for pretty much the whole time. He had a few slip-ups here and there, and yeah, I would get angry and upset and do everything that I could to help, even though I had already been in a situation like that where I tried to help someone who wasn't ready for help. But with Lucas, it felt so different. I knew that he truly wanted to be sober, and he was doing it. He was doing everything. You know, he was a spiritual person. He talked about recovery a lot, talked about how he wanted to be a peer recovery specialist. He had a lot of goals. That gave me faith that, you know, he is going to make it out of this. He's going to stay strong and do this for himself. Because if you're getting sober for someone else because they want you to be sober, that's the wrong reason to be getting sober. You should be getting sober for yourself, because at the end of the day, you're all you have. But the times that Lucas did have a slip up, I'm not gonna lie, it was hard to see that, and it broke my heart. I just kept fighting and pushing through and, you know, hoping that things would continue to get better. And they did. It took a while, but they did get better. I'm thankful that I was able to stay sober throughout everything. And unfortunately, it was that last time that took Lucas's life. And it shouldn't have been like that, but all I can do is learn how to accept that. And this whole journey is shaping me into a better person, because whenever I found out that Lucas relapsed, I would get really mad. Looking back, I just wish that I would have given him the biggest hug and would tell him everything's gonna be okay, you know, like, yeah, you may have made a mistake, but what can you do to fix that? What can you do to move past this? I guess I do have a lot of trauma from being in relationships with people who have addiction, but I've always had good intentions at heart and always want the best for the ones that I love. Even if I am mean sometimes, it's out of love. I only want my loved ones to succeed and to fight through this and make it out alive. I guess my advice to anyone who is in a relationship with an addict and you're in recovery, vice versa, is just to be patient, to love them unconditionally, because they're trying the hardest that they can. And it's these drugs out there that are so powerful, and they literally turn good people into someone that they're not, and all they need is love. That's why I hate the tough love thing. It's like, how can someone abandon someone who is struggling as much as they are with their addiction? I could never do that. And maybe that's different for some people, but that's not how I looked at it. It's like, okay, if someone's struggling, I'm gonna be there for them no matter what. Not in an enabling way, but to be there for them and support them and provide them with resources, even if they don't want it, just to show that you truly care about their well-being. And yeah, it's a tough subject for me to talk about, just because of a lot of different experiences I've had going through both of my relationships with people who struggled with addiction. And I'd like to go more into depth with this topic another time. I'm just having a hard time finding the right words to say. But if you are in a relationship with someone who's struggling, just be there for them. That's all we can do.